In today's video, I'm going to share with you how to knit the tiled infinity scarf. Now, before we begin, please remember to like and subscribe. Now, this scarf is a lovely scarf. It's very squishy and it's generously sized. It measures out at about 12 inches across, and then it has a circumference of about 64 inches. Now, this is easily adaptable because it works over an 8-row repeat, so you can make it longer or shorter if you like. And if you'd like to make it narrower or wider, then it just works in increments of 6. The materials used for this project are pretty simple. We're going to need yarn, we're going to need needles, and we're going to need a few other goodies. So let's talk about the yarn first. So the yarn that I used is the King Cole Subtle Drifter Chunky yarn. Now, I designed this back when I was an ambassador for King Cole, so this yarn was provided to me for this project by King Cole. This yarn is lovely. It's a great blend. It has 69% premium acrylic, 25% cotton, and 6% wool. And this skein holds approximately 164 yards or 150 meters. This is in the color Leaf, which gives it this lovely green color. And this yarn, it is chunky. However, if you're in the US, you could use like an Aran weight and probably get a very good result as well. Now, you're also going to need, for the yarn, you'll need 3 balls of this to create the scarf this size. Or if you want to make it smaller, more like a cowl, you could probably get away with just 2 balls. Or if you want to make it really long, go ahead and go for 4. Now, you're also going to need some knitting needles. And I use the US size 10 or the 6mm, and you can use straight knitting needles if you want to. However, I just use circular because circular is pretty much most of what I have here in my office. You'll also need a tapestry needle, which you'll use for weaving in your ends, but also seaming at the very end, because this is worked as a rectangle, and then you just sew those short ends together when you're all done. Optional, you'll need a locking stitch marker, and this is just to mark the right side of your work, or you can use a scrap piece of yarn. You'll need a pair of scissors, and then a tape measure to measure your piece as you go along. However, if you just plan on winging it and just making it until you like how it fits, well, you don't really need a tape measure. So let's grab your needles, grab some yarn, and let's get started. For this scarf, I used the long tail cast on method, and I cast it on 44. Now, you can use whatever cast on method you prefer, but I just prefer the long tail cast on method for that. So we're going to begin with row 1, which is your right side. Before we begin starting with row 1, I just wanted to let you know that the first 3 stitches and the last 3 stitches, you're going to be working in I-cord edging. And that's going to add just a really neat effect to it. And here's my sample so I can show you how that looks. So see right here, you just get that nice I-cord, which looks kind of like a braid. So you get that all the way down the edges, and you work that as you work the scarf. So that way you don't have to add on to it later. So once you're done and you bind off, you just sew it together and you're done. So we'll begin row 1 by just knitting 1. And then the next stitch, we are going to slip with our yarn in the front. So we'll move this yarn up to the front, slip that stitch. Then we'll move the yarn back to where it's supposed to be, and we will knit 1. And that's your I-cord edging right there. Now we're going to begin the pattern repeat. And we're going to do that by purling 2. So purl 1, purl 2. Then we're going to knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that's it for your pattern repeat. So again, we're just going to purl 2. So purl 1, purl 2, and then knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll do that all the way down until you have only 5 stitches remaining. So I'm going to continue with that repeat, and I'll just fast forward through that until we get to those last 5 stitches. Now we're down to these last 5 for row 1, and we're going to end by purling 2. 1, 2. Then we're going to knit 1. This is where we're doing our I-cord edging. So we're going to knit 1, put that yarn back into the front, slip that next stitch purlwise, put that yarn in the front, put that yarn to the back again, and then knit 1. And that's it for your row 1. Now before we turn our work, I'm going to use my lockable stitch marker, and I'm going to mark that this is my right side. And it doesn't really matter where, but just so that you can know that this is your right side. And then turn our work. For row 2, we're going to begin by moving our yarn to the front, and then we're going to slip that first stitch. Then we're going to knit 1, move that yarn back up in the front, and we're going to slip that next stitch. And you'll always be slipping them purlwise. And that's your I-cord edge. Now we begin our pattern repeat. We're just jumping right into it. And that's going to be to knit 2, and then we're going to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's your pattern repeat. So we're going to do this one more time. Just knit 2 and purl 4. So just continue doing that pattern repeat of knit 2, purl 4 until you get to these last 5 stitches, and I'll meet you down here. I'm to these last 5 stitches now, and what we're going to do is knit 2, and then we'll work that I-cord edge. So we're going to bring our yarn to the front, we will slip this next stitch purlwise, put our yarn back in the back, knit 1, then we're going to bring our yarn back to the front and slip this next stitch purlwise. And that's your row 2. For row 3, we're just going to repeat row 1. So essentially what we're going to do is for rows 3 through 6, so we're going to repeat rows 1 through 2 more times. So I'm going to work through row 1 once more, and I'll go through it quickly, and the same with row 2. So for that I-cord edge, we begin by knitting 1. Then we're going to bring our yarn to the front and slip purlwise. Then we're going to knit 1, and then we begin our pattern repeat, which is to purl 2 and knit 4. And that's your pattern repeat for this row. So purl 2, knit 4 till you get to these last 5 stitches, where you'll end by purling 2. And, well, actually, I'll just meet you here at these last 5. Okay, we're at these last 5 here. So we're going to purl 2 and work that I-cord edge, which is to knit 1. Then we'll bring our yarn to the front, slip that next stitch purlwise, put the yarn in the back, and knit 1. And that's your first repeat of row 1. So that's the end of row 3. Now for row 4, we're going to repeat row 2. And for row 2, I'm just going to go over the edge and the repeat, and then I'll meet you back down here on the edge. So we're going to begin by slipping with the yarn in the front, purlwise. Then we knit 1, and we slip the next stitch with the yarn in the front purlwise. And then we jump right into our pattern repeat, which is to knit 2 and purl 4. So just knit 2 and purl 4 across until you get to the last 5 stitches, and I'll meet you for that part. I'm up to my last 5 stitches here, and this is where we're going to knit 2. Then we're going to bring our yarn to the front, slip the next stitch purlwise, knit the next stitch, bring the yarn to the front, slip the next stitch purlwise. And then we'll turn our work. And now for rows 4 and 5, you're going to repeat rows 1 through 2 one more time. And I'll put a graphic on the screen so that you can see the directions, so that you can reference that. And then I'll meet you back here for row 7. So this is what you should have so far. You see we have the beginning of that I-cord edge, as well as you're creating like a ribbing. It's almost like a 2-4 ribbing, where you have the 2 purls, the 4 knits, 2 purls, 4 knits. So now for row 7, what you're going to do is repeat row 1 one more time. So I'll just put a graphic up there for you for that, and then I'll meet you back for row 8. For row 8, we're on the wrong side of the work. I think you're going to be amazed at how easy this row is. This is the easiest of all of them. So I'm going to grab just a little bit more yarn. Now we're going to begin also with that I-cord edge, where we're going to bring our yarn to the front, slip that first stitch purlwise, put our yarn back into the back, knit 1, and then we're going to bring our yarn back to the front and slip that next stitch purlwise. And we'll put our yarn back into the back, because now all we're going to do is knit. So knit across until you get to the very last 3 stitches. And I will meet you there. Now we're up to the last 3. We're going to finish up this I-cord edging by slipping our next stitch purlwise with the yarn in the front, take it to the back, knit 1, bring the yarn to the front, and slip purlwise. And that's the end for row 8. So now you can start seeing the squishiness that comes with this. And what that wrong side row that we just did with that row 8 did is it gave us that lovely little garter edge that gives us the tiled look. So to continue on with the scarf, you'll just repeat rows 1 through 8 until the piece measures about 62 inches or the desired length. And then you're going to repeat rows 1 through 7 once more. After you do that, you just bind off knitwise, leave a long tail so that you can sew your ends together, and then you'll have your infinity scarf. So again, here is what it looks like. And this is that edge that row 8 created. So that's it for this infinity scarf. I do hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you later for more patterns and tutorials. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.